My name is David Dunford. I'm a former BBC journalist and now I've just written a book on the history of horse racing in Chelmsford. It's called Full Circle, the rise, fall and rise of horse racing in Chelmsford. We're here actually on Galleywood Common where it all started, and if we'd have been here 200 years ago, the place would have been absolutely packed with thousands and thousands of people, because in those days horse racing was one of the most eagerly awaited events on the social calendar, and thousands of people would turn out for race meetings. Horse racing was so popular because it really had something for everybody. The upper classes could flaunt their wealth and parade backwards and forwards on the common with their horses. The middle classes could attend the balls and dinners and breakfasts and theatrical performances which went on in Chelmsford itself. And for the working classes, they could get in for nothing because it was held on common land.
Did the working class have all the fun, or was it the rich what get the pleasure?
The rich certainly got pleasure from being here on the common because they could flaunt their wealth and their influence, but the working classes had a great day out. This was because they didn't have to pay to get in. The races were held on common land, which meant that they could turn up and they could enjoy all the sideshows, all the boxing booths, all the things like that, and they didn't have to pay for it. There were lots of beer tents as well, which they did have to pay for, but they doubtless had a good day out and it didn't actually cost them very much.
Was this different to other race courses in Great Britain then? Were private ones, say like Aintree, you had to pay to enter?
A lot of race courses you did have to pay to enter, and a lot of race courses like that were built at the end of the 19th century, especially around London, places like Sandown Park, which were very nice race courses, but they were what were called enclosed race courses, which meant that everybody had to pay to get in, unlike Galleywood here, where you could get in and you only had to pay to get into the grandstand.
Was writing the book a big gamble, or did you know that it would be a winner?
No, I wrote it. In fact, I went back to university after I left work and did an MA in history, and this book arose out of the dissertation that I had to write for that. So after I got the dissertation back, one of the lecturers suggested I might try and get it published, which is what I did. I rewrote it, I expanded it slightly to take in the new Chelmsford City racecourse at the other side of the town at Great Leighs, and turned it into a book. Found a publisher, and here we are today. There was something in the racing for everyone, the rich, the poor and the middle classes, and it all went on here on this racecourse.
We're looking at the remains of the racecourse. We can see a nice bit of turf there, but what was this part? Where are we talking about? Where's the grandstand?
We are more or less sitting where the grandstand was. In fact, there were two grandstands, but one of them was certainly here. So this was the finishing line. In fact, the remains of the finishing post are just over there. So the horses would run up the hill to the finishing line, and it was really hard work. So it was quite a difficult course because of the uphill finish.
What made this race course different to all the others?
It was different because it was the only racecourse in England with a church in the middle of it.
A church?
A church, yes.
What church is that?
St Michael's, just over the back there. What is even more interesting is that the church was built after the racecourse. So a lot of people made a fuss about the church being in the middle of the racecourse, but the church wasn't built until the 1860s, and the racecourse started in the 1750s. So the racecourse had been here for 100 years before the church was built.
Well, you're the first person who's ever told me that. I thought they were somehow at the same time.
No.
Was this a revelation that you found out, that you'd always believed that the church was here, where penitent punters would go and say, Lord, I'll never gamble again?
No, I'd always assumed the church was here first and the racecourse was built around it. In fact, it was the other way around, which is really quite surprising.
So it's not an Anglo-Saxon church over there,
No,
it's a modern
Victorian.
design.
It's a modern Victorian, well, it's 150 years old. But it's not that old.
After the racecourse?
After the racecourse.
Once where those naughty gamblers used to frequent, a house of the Lord was built.
Exactly.
Why did the punters here disappear? They lost their bet? Why did it all collapse?
Briefly, I can tell you that...
Don't give away all the secrets, David.
But there were a lot of changes over the 19th century. The railways came to Chelmsford in the 1840s, which meant that horse racing was no longer just a purely social, local event. Lots of people came into the town from outside. It became more professional, and as it became more professional, its attraction to a wider range of people diminished, and lots of other attractions built up in Chelmsford in the late 19th century. There were lots of the cricket club, the football club, and then the big factories opened in Chelmsford. They had their own sports and social clubs, and then the cinema came. So all these things added together and reduced the attraction of horse racing. And of course, as I've said, the racecourse was built on common land. It couldn't charge an entrance fee apart from the grandstand, so it didn't make any money. And eventually, in the depression of the 1930s, they just couldn't survive any longer, and racing here ended in 1935.
I've just noticed that your book is what we would call postcard shaped. It's rectangular, as it were, apart from upright. Presumably that's because you've got long shots going that way.
It really suits the pictures. Lots of pictures of horses racing and buildings and things like that, and this sort of format suits those sort of pictures.
Tell us a bit more the actual book itself.
It's published by Essex Publications. They're based at Benfleet. You can buy it from them. It's on their website. You can get it on Amazon, or it's in bookshops.
And can you buy it at the racecourse at Great Leighs?
You can, yes. They are in fact giving a copy away to the winner of every race this year. By the winner I mean the winning owner, not the winning horse. And they're also on sale there.
I must ask this very, very naughty question. Are you a gambling man?
No. My wife is, but I'm not. It's a mugs game.